and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And Beth is hiding, of course, behind a baby. Like those little creatures say, bad baby, bad baby. Of course, the first episode of season 3 came out this week. So we have our little friend here to celebrate. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's very good. I won't spoil it. There's nothing really to spoil. I'm trying to remember what even happened. But I enjoyed it.
Lots of setting up stuff.
Yeah. Sort of recapping and setting up.
I've seen all these videos.
Intermixed with action scenes.
Yeah.
You know, they made a mistake with it's like, who cares? Only people who are like, totally
don't read about it.
Fanboys or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm a fanboy, but anyway, I enjoyed it. I noticed some things that were like, hey, what about that? And what about, and where's the...
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. I'm going first today, but I brought this over here because I found this on the table. Christmas candy. Found it over there. I was like, hey, but I was like, is it bad? But no, look. July of 23. We can still eat this. Mm-hmm. It's pretend M&Ms made by Hershey's.
It was Beth's job to pass those out at Christmas.
And I kind of chickened out because I didn't know if we had enough. And I thought, well,
these were from Eli. So I don't know. I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. I was afraid we didn't have enough, and we have I was trying to count, and so I didn't want to give some to somebody and some to not everybody or whatever,
Because we weren't here, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give yourself one.
I'm going first. So this is all I've worked on this week. I'm almost done with it. You can see I'm up to the blue and white up here. And then I think I have 2 more rows of this color work, and then it'll just be blue, and I'll do the decreases to the top of the hat. The reason that this is all I've worked on is because I've been dead with my job. Oh, I've been so tired. So that's really all I've worked on. And I completely forgot about WIP-GO. I forgot that we changed over to the new month. And last week it was almost the end of the month, and nobody told me that the numbers had been drawn. I rely on you to keep me informed. So anyway, this month's I heard were 22 and 2. So 2 is easy for me. That is, I just found out this morning. So I was like, oh, let me bring my projects. 2 is what I call my camp hat, which is this lovely hat. It's just simple stockinette with a gorgeous WIP-GO yarn. When I went camping this past summer, it was freezing cold, and I wore a hat that was just an acrylic hat I made as an experiment a long time ago, and it was the only hat I could lay my hands on. Can you believe that? I'm a knitter, and it was the only hat I could find. Yeah. And it was kind of too big, and it would just slide like in Tootsie, where she's wearing the curlers. He's wearing the curlers, and he turns his head, and the curlers stay. That's how my hat was. I love that movie. I love that movie. I can watch that movie every day. But anyway, this hat is nice and cozy. So I started this hat after that camping experience. It's just a simple...
And it's not a hat for a baby.
It's not a hat for a mouse. It's a hat for me. So I just have to work inches on it and then do the decreases. Now, this was my own design, and I wrote it on a piece of paper, and guess what?
Lost your paper?
Lost my paper. So this was, I made this design guided by Roxanne Richardson. So I just need to go back to that design your own hat video and figure it out again. It was just kind of a scrap of paper where you kind of measure like earlobe to earlobe and then, figure out how many. So I just need to redo the math and figure out how long I want to make it and where the decreases go and how to do the decreases. So but this is my own design hat. This is the gorgeous, I love WIP-GO. It's so beautiful. You can't even see how gorgeous this is. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
It's so pretty.
Oh man, yeah. I really.
You know,
like
it
that
always
too.
looks, so here's the thing about variegated yarn. It always looks prettier in the hank than it does knitted up because the color changes are so short that it can get kind of muddy, I think, sometimes. But I still love it. I love it. And for myself to wear in my tent, in my sleeping bag, I'm so happy about this. So, and I love Malabrigo in any way, shape, or form, which I will talk about again in a moment. So, excuse me. So that is number 2. So that should, and then my goal is to finish it. So that should be okay. That's good bust knitting. And I've been riding the bus more lately. And number 22 in my WIP-GO list is the Snarkometer shawl by Casapinka. And when I made my WIP-GO board, I took it out, but I didn't really look at it, and I had forgotten how much, cover Beth up, Evie. I had forgotten how much I did on it.
Baby Yoda.
So.
I'm right here. Well, I was here. Now I'm going back.
Well, that's a story. But,
It's
so.
pretty.
So I think
I like your colors so much.
Yeah, so this one is I think it's 2 colors of I think it's 2 Malabrigo and 1 and 2 silks, although I'm not 100% sure. I must have the labels somewhere, but not here. Here's my color. You can see my colors more. I'll pull them out. It's my colors. I don't think these are all Malabrigo colors. I can't remember at all now where I got these from. Maybe I wrote it down somewhere. Isn't that pretty? So the last one, the last big rectangle shawl I made by Casapinka, I tried to do a fall colors and it wound up being so loud. Remember, it's like it's like an army green and yellow and like a bright gold and a bright purple and brown. And so people, when I wear it, people go, that looks like Mardi Gras colors. And I was like, no, that's not what it's supposed to be. So anyway, I was like, why didn't I make something in my favorite colors, which is blues and purples? So that's what I attempted in this one.
Get over here.
Well, and like my symphony shawl is really like, I love that one. That's so nice. It's 2 Malabrigos, I think, and 2 Cascade Silks. I don't know what these are. I can't remember. I have to look back. Oh, you know what? Probably in my Instagram stories, I listed what it was. So I'll look back at that. But this is my Snarkometer, and I got to figure out where I am, what I'm doing, and
what your name is.
What my name is on this thing. But that's my goal. Just 15 days on it. I'm not even attempting to say I'm going to finish it. I think I'm a little over halfway only in that. So that's that. And my little, poor Mark, that little coaster I'm working on, his name didn't work on it at all. I can barely stay awake. I do a lot of sleep knitting right now. And then I got another block magazine. I didn't know one was coming. But I got another one. This has Big T Origami, Cross Your Heart, The Cutting Garden. That's pretty. Jacob's Ladder Star. Ooh, that's neat. Pretty Pillows, Bloomerang Table Runner, A Jewel Heart, Hourglass Sash. I'm just reading the back. Better Together Aprons and Pocket Playmat. Oh, how cute. It's like a little baby playmat with a pocket on it. Or maybe it folds up into the pocket. I don't know. But those are the projects in this one. I will put a close-up of the back where it shows all the projects. I love this magazine. Oh, look, 10 years. I think I've been subscribing for 10 years. I think I have 10 years worth of block magazines in my room. These are beautiful. 54, that's the one I want to see. Oh, wait, what's that a picture of? Donuts? What? Donuts. 10 years of quilting ideas. This is an article about block being 10 years old. Sorry, my phone's ding-donging. I'll turn it down in a second. This one's called Jacob's Ladder Star. So Jacob's Ladder is a quilt design, and this one looks like stars made from Jacob's Ladder. It's really pretty. Look at that. I like geometric shapes. I'll have to find this. I'll have to find this. I'll put a close up of this pattern in the photos. Look at that.
I saw the video on that.
Oh, did you? Is it good?
Yeah.
A lot of tiny whittle things.
Right now,
I haven't done
right
quilting
now,
in ages.
the thought of doing anything else tiny is making me crazy.
It's not actually tiny. I mean, if you look at the actual quilt, look, it's not that small. It just looks. But I need to quilt. I haven't quilted in 100 years.
That's because you have too much on your plate.
I know. I know.
I know you're right.
And now I'm hungry. How to make a quilt sandwich. Now it makes me hungry. Well, I have had not a productive crafting week, but I have some good stories. But I will pass the mantle on to Beth.
Okay.
I'm going to work on my hat. Oh, sorry. I interrupted you. I didn't win the contest. They had a random selection winner for the Arne and Carlos knit along, and it wasn't me.
I never win the contest.
I never win. And it was like a whole sweater's worth of yarn. So sad. But anyway, that's okay. I didn't expect to win. I was sitting there watching the video like, I'm not going to win. I'm not going to win. I'm not going to win. And I didn't. My expectations were fulfilled.
The only time I've won is there was a drawing when I was working for JCPenney catalog
Yeah.
of the people who had, you know how they always want you to upsell. So if you did the upsell, those of you who actually got somebody to buy something, your name went into a hat. And I won something. I was like, just sitting here trying to do my job, earn $1, you know.
I won a couple of times. I won once with Stitching with the Housewives. I won a pattern a long time ago. They were doing like a monthly series or something. So I got, I think August was the month that I got, and it's in my stash of stuff. but my biggest win that I got was
you
the
won
iPad.
an iPad.
Well, you know, how often do you do that?
I don't know, but I don't want to hear about it because I never win anything.
Well, I think I fit my quota for winning things. When
I don't even win dork prizes at dumb.
Oh yeah, I've done that too. Yeah.
I know.
I forgot about winning Stitching with the Housewives.
That big red bowl that we have was one that I won.
As I call them, dork prizes.
Dork prizes. And I want a big glass bowl. I think got rid of it when we moved.
We should probably move that baby. Eve, slide him over toward you, between you two.
I can't reach.
Yeah, because you have tiny arms. There you go.
Okay. So, I just want to show a couple of things from last week that I worked on a little bit after we did our update. So this is the fox. This was February winter cross-stitch camp, which I the goal is to start on the 1st and to finish by the end of the month, and I didn't finish, of course. But I worked on the fox, and I don't know if you can see it in this with the wrinkle and everything else, and there's a baby ear, Yoda ear in the way. But so I did basically everything to the whatever side this is, left or right, of the fox, all of this, the cabin and the trees and the snowflakes or whatever. And then, so I was working on the fox, and then there's stuff over here on the other side of him, and I was working on his tail, on the white on his tail. So I did one of the little snowflakey, sparkly things. But there's, a couple more trees and a whole bunch of, things that go over here. So anyway, I made pretty good progress on it. And, if I were to continue with this series, there's one, for every month. And, I don't know. So I think I want to just, finish the fox, but I'm going to work on it as I can, off and on. And then this was the Monster Wonder, sticking together, Monster Wonder Whale. And I went ahead and finished the green of this thing. There's like some red berry things that go on there. And I did this little bird up here. So everything, except for the water down the bottom, everything from here on is done. And everything on the whale is done except this one little Quaker thing. And then I just have everything from here to the end. And then the waves on the bottom and the ships and stuff. But it's pretty good. I don't know when I'm going to work on it again because, I have a whole bunch of WIP-GO stuff to do. So, these magnets are sticking together. But so there's that. So, the new WIP-GO numbers were called... oh, no, wait, I'm going to do this because this is my WIP-GO. So, I have FFOs to do for WIP-GO. And so I did this one, Squirrel's Night Out. It'll be a close-up picture here. But I didn't do the cording. There's supposed to be cording around the thing. And I had forgotten that I was going to do that.
I see.
So I might still do it because it would help, cover up the corners a little bit. But there's very little room on there. So I don't want to make very thick cording. But yeah, just a few, maybe a couple of strands or something like that.
You could just use this rat tail. You don't even have to make cording. You just use this kind of rat tail.
Yeah, if I had,
You can get it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so that would look nice and it wouldn't be very fat.
Yeah. So this is Squirrel's Night Out by the Primitive Hare. And then these I didn't stick on because I want to do Cataween Cow to go with them. But this is Pumpkin Pile and Ghoul's Garland that I finished. So I just had this fabric, orange fabric in my stash. Or it might have been one of the two that I bought, just recently. But so I did the stitching and I did this purple rickrack around them. And I had decided to put them on this little tombstone. I got this at the dollar spot at Target a long time ago. And it had a little thing of chalk, but I'm not using that, obviously. I don't know, maybe I'll draw something on here to connect the thing together, I don't know. But so, but I want to put them on this tombstone, but I want to finish Cataween Cow. So the idea is, these go to here and the Cataween Cow would go down here in the bottom. But I didn't want to glue them in place until I finish Cataween Cow and see how they all fit on there. So it's a semi-FFO'd, both of my projects, FFO projects.
But these are FFO'd.
Yeah, they're just not attached to the final thing. Can you move this over there somewhere out of the way?
Ow. Back hurts.
So for March, the FFOs are this that I got this kit a long time ago and finished it a few years ago.
Cute.
Eeyore and the Bees. I think all these Disney designs, there's Eeyore, there's Winnie the Pooh, a whole bunch of characters from the Winnie the Pooh stories. Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, but they're all sort of in various permutations. I don't know if I gave away that book that you gave me or if I still have it in my stash, but all the designs in there, I've seen them individually and used in other forms or whatever, but it's always the same idea. So this one with Eeyore and the Bees, I've seen, in several permutations, but anyway, but I had bought it by itself as a kit, I think. And there's like a little bit of an error here somewhere. I miscounted something, but I guess fudged it and you really can't tell. But anyway, so this is one of my FFO projects. So this is a little, I think I cut this out of the design. I didn't save the whole thing. I just cut this little picture out. And the other day, I had to buy some threads at Hobby Lobby. And one of the things I bought were these little bee buttons. They're little shank buttons, but they're cute. They're little bees. So I think I'm going to use those when I finish that. Just put more bees. And the other WIP-GO FFO thing is this For Fat Friends. I don't have a finished picture of it because it's a freebie, and so there's no, it's just the pattern. But this is by the Drawn Thread, and I had this for a long time, and I finally finished it. But it's really cute.
Give me a rope.
4 big fat birdies and a big tree. So I'm gonna finish this, and then for my whips, there is a gray wolf. And I feel like I just worked on this, but it must have been like late last year, WIP-GO or something.
In December.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because I thought, I just did that. Yeah, so I'm going to work on it some more. It's very dense, very, within this little oval, it's full coverage. So, and they're all like, shades of gray this far apart. So, it's like, it's a little mind-blowing. It's just like...
I am always attracted to those kind of cross-stitch things. But they're
really hard to do.
They're my death. I cannot do them.
And especially because when I first started this, like I've said this before, I didn't make a working copy, and so I didn't, color in what I've stitched or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of like, I know I did that. If I look at the pattern and look at what I've stitched, I can say, okay, I did that. But then it's like you can't. It's so hard to find, keep track of, and everything. And the other one, and I have a picture of this. I'll post a picture of it. But this is a design that I made that I came up with for my brother-in-law. It has this quote: "Not everything that counts, not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that can be counted." So
he's a data analyst.
Yeah. So I came up with this. There's a peacock that goes up here and a whole bunch of little sheep that go in between the words here, and then this little border goes around it. And actually, I think I got down to the bottom of this blue border, and I think the next step is to go across. But I want to do all of this stuff in between before I commit to going across. Because if it's like one too short, that's easily fixable, and if it's one too long, that's easily fixable. And so there's a purple, a maroon border, and a green border. The 3 go across and down, and the square. And so if the blue one is correct, then it's easy to do the other 2 correctly. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that I do all of this and that it's all correct and fits and everything else. So at least the quote, if I can put the quote in, then I can figure it out, and make it right. So right now I've got half of the quote here. Not everything counts that can be counted counts. And then right now I'm working on the other half here. So the goal on this was only 6 days, but it's relatively simple. So I'll probably mostly finish it, except for, all those little sheep and everything, and the peacock is kind of complicated and it kind of isn't. And then for my new starts for WIP-GO, I decided to do, because I thought, well, I could do the Swan, which is the next one in that series, A Year in the Woods, that the Fox is part of. But I wouldn't really be able to start it until I got a little further along on the fox, and so I don't know if I'm going to do that. I didn't know if I was going to do that. So I had come across these the other day, and I've talked about this before. This one is Give Greatly. These are both by Silver Creek Samplers. And this one is Give Greatly, and it's a snowman and a mouse, rabbit. And it says, your greatness is not in what you have, but what you give. And it's really cute, adorable, and I like this, the quote on there. So, there's that. That's one of them. And the other one is this Lost and Found that was lost and found. I found it I made a mistake and put it away. It was in my notebook of patterns that I hadn't done yet. And this one is Lost and Found. I am a lost sheep, gone astray. Shepherd, find me, this I pray. Oh, shepherd, listen to my prayer and keep me in thy loving care. Like the big sheep and some grass and flowers and a bird and all that. So I was looking at my fabric stash. I just happened to have some fabric that I was considering for something else. And I have a blue and a green. And one of these patterns is slightly bigger than the other. And so, but I think they'll both fit on these pieces that I have. So that's my FFO stuff. And that's pretty much all I'm working on. So I've got a whole bunch on my plate now. So we'll see.
Okay.
At least with those with the new starts, it's like, as long as I start them, I've met the criteria, so I don't have to finish them.
Rogue.
Come here, Rogue. No barking. Come here. Come here, naughty dog. Hi.
Okay,
No
since I didn't finish, I knew I wasn't going to finish the snowman.
Now his ear's in your face. Let's put him back this way.
Oh.
Come back here.
I knew I wasn't going to finish the snowman for winter cross stitch camp, so I just set it aside to try to work on this. No. Need the whole pattern. This.
That's the winter berries?
The Winter Berries by Erica Michaels. This is Ice Show. Ice Skating Cardinal.
That's so cute. So
And
cute.
last time I showed it, I had this snowflake, I thought done. Or almost done. And when I went, it's kind of like when you're doing a border, and you're going around like that and you come over and you're like, that's not meeting up.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at it, and the pattern has, essentially, it has crosses going like this, right? And then it has other,
Like rays.
rays coming out of a central square-ish thing, right? So when I went to finish it, I was like, that is so, one was, that part of it was here and the rest of it was like over here. What the heck? So I had to take most of it out. And because I looked where my mistake was and I was like, oh man. So then I started around again and something was off again. And when I tried to take it out, of course it's a toile, so it just disintegrated. So I come around the third time. Yeah. So if the squares for the words are here, the snowflake is just slightly off. And it's supposed to be even. And I was like, I cannot make that even unless I go back and start yet again. And I finally decided these things are not touching each other and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So I did much work on this, but I don't have very much to show for it. Just this little snowflake right here. Yes, I know you can't see it, but you know, with the picture you will be. And I started on another snowflake here, which I seem to be having more success with, because one of the problems of this one is that it had so much counting in between each piece of it, and I should have started in the middle and just gone out. That would have been easier, right? But then I would have had to count all the way over to where that middle was supposed to be. So you all know my counting is just
Not everything
not good.
that counts
Can be counted.
can't be counted.
Yeah. So my WIP-GO.
Not everything that can be counted counts. Sorry. I love that quote.
My WIP-GO call for the end of February was, again, Erica Michaels, The Sewing Bee, and I'm working on this berry right here. I did not finish that either. As I was starting this flower over here, I realized that I did the words in the wrong color. And this color is supposed to be used on a great big flower over here. So I thought, well, maybe I could
What?
I was going to see if I had both threads, but I can't. I thought maybe I could darken this by doing half stitches all over the whole words, and then I could use the same color for the flower over here. And there's a picture here you will see of that done. And I lived with it for a few days and I hated it. So I said, I'm just going to make the flower a different color. So there's a blue flower up here sideways. And then it's supposed to be the flower that looks like this. And the color that was supposed to be here is much darker. It would be like making a brown flower. I don't want to make a brown flower. So I'm going to use this red color here.
Okay.
You can't see the sides in the picture. So the only person who would know what's wrong is me. So
It's not wrong. It's just different.
So because I pulled that all out. So it took me a while to put it in, and then it took me a while to pull it out because I didn't want to pull out the stitches underneath, right? So after I finish this flower, on this blue flower on this side right here, then I'll do both things over here. But I think red will be fine. So there's little red flowers all over this pin pillow. So. And it's mine, so I can do it however I want. So,
Yeah, I know I see patterns that people say, oh, well, I didn't do the bottom part because blah, blah, blah. Or I didn't do the, because I wanted to make it fit and and did this and did that. I'm like, it's
You have
really
so
hard
much
for
trouble
me.
with
Yeah,
that.
to like going, should I leave that off? I don't want to leave that off.
and before I talk about this month's WIP-GO? WIP-GO challenges.
That's in October.
Yeah. Oh, I have some of that thread I pulled out right here. Maybe I'll lay it across. Well, you'll see it in the thing, but it is very brown.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want a brown flower. Okay, so I want to talk about my temperature SAL. Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts.
I love that pattern.
2023 temperature SAL, and I'm enjoying it. I really am. However, while I was working on it, writing down my temperatures, I realized that on Tuesday it was the coldest it's been this year, and it was in March.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cold here that it snowed in Scottsdale and Gilbert.
Yeah.
I mean, I know California was having, its own snow issues.
Tucson got snow too.
Yeah.
But Tucson's always colder than us.
Yeah, Tucson, it has that mountain right there. And it's a real mountain, not like our mountains here. So
Madonna posted a picture of
The Estrellas.
yeah,
Yes.
that there was snow on the
places that never get rain are snowed on.
Yeah, weird.
So I was like, I have to pick a new color that I haven't worked on. Because the high was 55 degrees. And we've had so much rain this year. And I'm like, no wonder I'm freezing. So here is my progress.
It's so pretty.
Finished February, and here's that cold temperature for March. Now, I don't know if it's a record or not because I don't watch the news and I don't care. I just know that was cold.
It was, it was really cold.
And, I have jackets and sweaters. I don't have coats. Not that 55 is like, I remember living in snow. It's not horrible. But when you're not used to it being that cold.
Do you remember Sunday? Sunday morning when I went to church, it was coldish. Mm-hmm. But when we got out, it was horrible. Mm-hmm. Mostly because of the wind. There's been a lot of wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wind, when the day that it was raining and the wind, was blowing out there, the dog desperately needed the bathroom. So I tried to let her out in she hates water. I tried to let her out in her dog run, and she's like, yeah, no, I'm not having any of that. So I tried to let her out in the backyard, and she poked her little face out there, and while I was trying to move things that had been blown over so that she could get by to go to the bathroom, she went back inside without me.
She's like, nope.
So I tried again, because I don't want her to have an accident. I tried again, and she was like,
Wednesday night,
I am not doing that.
Wednesday night, I went to therapy, and when we got there, it was windy, cold. When I got out of therapy, the rain was in the headlights of my car this way. Falling this way. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's not fun.
It was blowing so hard, and it was so cold, and the rain was coming down in sheets. And my dog said, I'm not having that. I'll just pee on the floor and you can clean it up.
No.
She didn't. Okay, so this pattern is by Cross Stitching for Fun, and it's called Black Cat. I had to call it Art Deco Cat in my stuff because I have a pattern by DMC that's called Black Cat. But this one, they stitched in black, and I did the first half. I did the whole pattern, okay, which is this cat right here, okay. And then I asked them, and they reversed the pattern for me so that I could.
That's so nice.
It was so sweet of them, so that I could do the reverse side here. And I'm using a darker variegated yarn thread. I thought about just adding one thread of this darker one to one thread of that one. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So I'm just making it darker. And until I started stitching it, I didn't realize how much darker it was. But that's okay. So I'm going to do these two kitties, and I'm really happy with the way it's coming out so far. They're very different, but same. Mm-hmm. So
sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. So that was this for March, and I've worked on it. I didn't work on it yet. I did work on it for a little bit yesterday. I didn't work on it at all the day before. So I was trying to get to some of the, like this winter berry and stuff like that, so that I could get it off my plate, and
that didn't work out.
That didn't work out very well at all. So the other one, this is Lemon Cat by Cute Patterns from Maria. Cute Patterns by Maria. Maria Bravko. This is a free pattern. And it's absolutely adorable. And I am this far. which isn't very far at all. It's a very small pattern.
I love that kitty. I love that kitty.
And I don't know that I want to put this lead here. I might, just because it ends the pattern.
Yeah.
But my goal on this is to finish it because it's tiny. If I actually sit down and concentrate on it, I might actually get it done. But we'll see. And then, let me talk about this one first. So I didn't sew a lot, but I
So
sewed
what?
I sewed a couple of
Here, more of this way. There.
of the.
That's
I
pretty.
ironed that wrong. A couple of the rows together with their sassing strips, and I love the way the yellow just pops out
That's
of there.
nice. Those kitties are not all the same color, even though they look it
No, they're not. They're
subtly different.
yeah. And when you get further up, you'll see that there was lots of colors in the
Kitties.
in the kitties. It's just this is the darker kitties, and when you look at it up close, maybe I'll take a picture of it up close. I mean, because you can see it there, but you can't see that the cats are different. They're the same general color, but they're different colors. So I kept looking at this and going, I've been in paperwork hell. So, and then I spent a whole day crying.
Knit crying.
Knit crying.
Knit crying is a real thing.
So I was working on this, and anybody who saw my video on Monday saw that I finished this lacing here. And then when I did the purl row right before the row I have half done here, I kept thinking maybe I had made a mistake or dropped something, and I tried counting it, and I kept getting lost when I was counting it. And then I said, well, maybe not. And I started knitting this row. And I realized that there are 2 drop stitches, and they are very far down. And I know they were fine before I did the purl row. So somehow on the purl row, I really messed it up. And so I contacted Naomi bawling. I was like, oh, I don't know how to fix it. And I'd rather take off that whole section than have it where you can tell there's like a serious problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if with Naomi's help or anything, if I'd be able to fix it or not, but we'll see.
I'm gonna take it home and
I'm sending it home with her.
and take a look at it, and if I can't fix it, I'll put in I have a nice, the needle that Vicky sent me is such a great needle because it's very small and it's very long, and so I can use that. I think I have it free. I don't think it's on anything right now, and I can use that to create to pick up stitches in a particular row and pull it so that you can knit it back.
One of the problems, she taught me how to do that, but one of the problems was that in that lacing area, there's areas where it's like bumped because you're picking up 2 stitches at a time. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
And you taught me to knit, and look at me helping you.
Yeah, but
I study it. I literally study it every day.
And then lastly, I purchased a pattern. This is by Twin Peak Primitives Easter book. And it's a whole bunch of smalls. They're not that small, but they are small.
It's so cute.
Is that the one that the Just Keep Stitching featured on the...
Yeah. And I liked it the first week. And see, what happened in December, they put out a book like this, and it was little... I can't remember if they were boots or something, bells. of little Christmas stitching that I thought was cute. And I procrastinated and the sale went off. Excuse me. The sale went off. And I saw it at not Hobby Lobby, the Attic. And of course that was full price. And I was like, okay, I'm not buying it at that. And I'm very much regretting that I didn't buy it when it was on sale. So the first week that Just Keep Stitching showed their sale pattern, I said, oh, that's beautiful. Nah, I don't want to spend money on that. And then when I watched them again this time, because this time it's on for 2 weeks, I said, I'm getting that. And I was really happy. Just, they're so cute. I don't even know which one I want to start with. And they're not all bunnies, which is one of the things I liked about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, okay, there's a lot of bunnies.
There's a lot of bunnies.
But it's not...
I really like that first one in the corner. That's so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
The He Has Risen one.
I'm not
That's
sure
really
I like the frame.
Oh, of it?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's not that I dislike it. It's just... I'd have to get it to meet on the other side. So, that's me.
That's you? Time for stories?
I was gonna say, I forgot that I gave into the Nashville thing. I had told myself, I don't know, I might want to order something from Nashville, but maybe not, because all the Nashville, new releases, it will eventually, make it to the shops or whatever, and if I couldn't decide for sure, if I wanted something and what I wanted, did I want it that badly or whatever. But then there were some things that were market exclusives, and I thought, maybe I want to order it. But then, the pre-order deadline was, was like, for most places was, Thursday or Friday or thereabouts. And so I had kind of procrastinated about it to the point where I thought, well, I guess I missed all the deadlines, so nobody's, doing it anymore. But then I watched Just Keep Stitching. I watched Pam and Steph on Sunday, and Stephanie said something about, because she works at Keepsakes. She was saying something about that the deadline for ordering there was Monday at 5:00 Cincinnati time, and so I thought, ooh, and so on Monday morning I was there on my computer looking at everything, and I'd written a bunch of things down, and I sort of was like, do I want this badly enough? Yes, no, whatever. So, but then it was, kind of getting late. It was 4:00 in Cincinnati, 4-ish, 4:15, thereabouts. And so I called, and I don't know, somehow I was very surprised that Stephanie answered. And I was like, oh, I know her. I know her from the internet. But, so I said,
I'm a fangirl.
Well, I did say I was watching Just Keep Stitching. I said, and I thought you said that you guys are still taking orders till 5:00 today. Is that true? And she says, yes. And I thought, oh, good. So I'm in under the wire. So I ordered a few things, and she said something like, well, you've got, 45 minutes, to, if you think of anything else you want to add to your order. So I thought, okay, yeah, no, I'm fine. So then I was looking at the stuff, and I was like, oh, maybe I want to add this. And so I called her back. I said, yes, I want to add. So yeah, I forgot all about that. I ordered some things from Nashville. So when they get back, I guess they get back on, Monday or Tuesday, whatever. So a few days later, they'll be getting all their
They'll send
orders
everything
out.
out.
So yeah.
Wow.
So I'm excited. Not that I need more stuff, but
It's been such a long week, and I'm like, I don't even know. What did I do this week? It's just work. It's just work.
I did paperwork and I slept.
I wish I could sleep. My back's been really bad. It's been like every morning it is a huge struggle. Once I'm up and like sitting, I'm okay. And actually feels pretty good. And then I sleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, my back is in awful spasm again. And I go to therapy. And by the time I'm going to therapy, it's like 6 o'clock at night. And it's not so bad. And I do all these exercises. And the next day I'm like, ah. So I don't know what's going on. Like,
are you sure it's not your bed?
No,
somehow, or the way you're sleeping.
That's part of it, but also it also just like if I'm in my even if I like am in my chair like because I think if I can sleep sitting up I'll be okay. But it's just like almost like inactivity. I can't describe it. Anyway,
Sometimes I wake up with everything hurting. And it's because the dog, if I get up to go to the bathroom or something, she wants to sleep in the very middle of the bed.
Yeah.
And she won't move. It's like like shoving a rock. So I'm all contorted trying to find a pillow and a place not to fall off the bed. And once in a while I can get her to move. But sometimes I'm like, I'm doing this pretzel thing because the dog wants to sleep on my bed.
But she's important.
Well,
yeah.
Since I didn't kick her off, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I was going to say, okay, so some crazy things happened this week. Let's see. Well, actually, I don't know. It might have been last week, but I might have forgotten to talk about it because my days are crazy. I'm sorry to be so complaining. I love my job. I'm actually really enjoying myself. And it's become multifaceted. I still have 5 bosses, but it should be narrowed down to a few less soon. But it's been good. But one day, it's crazy downtown stories. Okay, one day I was walking into work in the morning, and there was a woman pulling a suitcase. And I didn't notice anything about her one way or the other. The suitcase was nice, but I don't, even thinking back to her now, I can't remember, if she looked like a business person, a homeless person, she didn't register to me as one thing or another. However, she stopped in the sidewalk. So I'm approaching her. My office door is beyond her. And there's like a restaurant right there. So there's like a little fence, not fence, but like a little, like a little
barrier thing.
Yeah, barrier thing, because people can eat outside, right? And then there's the piece of sidewalk, and then meters, and then the street. And so she's standing basically right in front of me. She stops, and she starts going like this, and she's throwing pennies onto the sidewalk, just randomly throwing pennies. And so I stopped walking because I don't want to get hit by a penny. And what are you doing? And I guess, I don't know if my stopping walking made a difference or she was just out pennies. I don't know. But she grabbed her suitcase and she walked past me. And I was like, that is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Just random throwing pennies onto the sidewalk. I'm like, why? Why? Dog is crazy.
When I used to work with a group of people, we would randomly find little poop balls on the floor.
Oh, I've got you beat on that.
But I mean, nobody had gone to the bathroom.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you poop on the floor without taking your clothes down, right? There would just be these little balls of poop on the floor.
Oh, no.
And we finally figured out who was doing it.
Was.
And had to have him, a come to Jesus meeting about it. Fortunately, he was somebody that that stayed with his mom.
Yeah.
Not in a group home.
Yeah.
So I had to give a call to mom and say, can you please confirm with your child that this is not appropriate?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So last week, I didn't talk about this last week, but on Friday, not yesterday, but a week ago, Eli and I drove in together, and we parked in a parking garage near my office, near his office, and the elevator. I've talked about how the city built that plywood. Come here. That plywood display and is a beautiful mural because of the Super Bowl, right? Because everyone's gonna be downtown, and they wanted to dress up the bottom of our garage. But what they did, I've mentioned this often before. They made this tiny little alcove, and there's a door to the stairwell, and then the elevator up into the garage. It's one of the elevators. There's another one that's further closer, the other side of the block, and it's more open, and But this one now is this tiny little, I call it the bathroom, because people go in there and they pee, whatever. And the elevator often smells like a bathroom. And that particular day, it was bad. But then we come out of work after at 5 o'clock, and we go, and there is a giant pile of poop right there between the stairwell door and the elevator. And we were like, oh my gosh, it was horrible. And as I'm driving out of the garage, I stopped and I was like, hello, excuse me, to the attendant there. And he goes, we know about it. We're trying to get someone out to clean it up. And a few days later, I'm driving down the street, and I was on Monday. I see this truck that's like, what's it called? Cut the Crap was the name of the company. I guess it's a dog poop, they come and clean up your dog poop for you. And I was like, that's who the city should have called.
Downtown has a lot of homeless people, and the sad reality is there's no place for them to go to the bathroom.
Exactly.
There is no public toilet for them to use anywhere. Businesses make an effort to not allow
it. So
and I'm not blaming the businesses, because other things end up happening in there, but what are they supposed to do?
Exactly. That's part of the problem. But what is so that was Friday, and then Monday, okay, I drove in, and the elevator was terrible, and it smelled like a bear cage. It was horrible. There was no poop in there, but you could tell people had just been peeing in it like a bathroom. And come here, you dumb dog. And I had to go from the office out to get some rental equipment for our board meeting. And so I went out and rode in that elevator, and I'm like, gross. And then that night, that afternoon, I was going to borrow our box office. We have a wagon, a collapsible wagon that we use to take stuff from our office over to the Symphony Hall. And I was going to borrow it because we had all this stuff we had to take to the board meeting. And I'm thinking to myself, if I roll that cart through what I call now the pee-pee elevator, Rogue, come here, Rogue.
The next door neighbor is making some noise.
Yeah, so she's stop barking. If I roll the cart through the pee-pee elevator, I have to collapse it and put the nasty wheels in my car, which I don't want to do. Stop barking. Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, ugh. So that afternoon when I go to leave for the board meeting, I go down and I'm like, I get to that corner and I'm like, I am not going up there. So I walked all the way down the block to the other elevator and went up and got my car. And so then I go to the board meeting. It was great. It was exhausting. Oh, okay. Stories from the board meeting. We meet at a bank that is one of our board members' bank, right? beautiful conference center, and the lady who was there is very wonderful, very helpful. But she's like, we all leave at 4. But the doors to the conference center will be open until 6, and then they won't lock automatically at 6. And we're like, perfect. So I get everything set up, and we're having like a reception thing or whatever. So I have to go get food at like 5 o'clock. But the board meeting starts at 4. And so we set everything up, and the board goes in there, and they're having their meeting. And it's like 4:15-ish. And I finally sat down. They had these nice little chairs out in the lobby. And I sat down. I was like, I want to rest my dogs. I was really tired. And like, I have to go get the food. But I'm like, you know what? I didn't eat all my, like, because I bring like a bunch of snacks for the work day, right? I'm like, I didn't eat my snacks. So I'm going to go out to my car, get my little lunch bag, come in and sit down. I got like 45 minutes to kill. So it was a very good thing this happened. Because I walk out, I go to my car, get my thing, come back. Doors are automatically locked.
No.
And I'm like, no. Fortunately, the lady who worked there had given me a number, and I called her, and I was like, all right, I tried to call her, and her voicemail box was full. People, empty your voicemail boxes, because someone might be desperately trying to get hold of you at some point. So I texted her, and I was like, the doors are locked, and I'm stuck outside. And she's like, they were supposed to be open till 6. I'll contact the security, which she did, and they automatically, computer, and they were done. But I'm like so glad that because otherwise I'd been standing there at 5 o'clock
with the food,
with a giant tray of food in my hands, and locked doors and no time, and and who knows if the security would have been available then. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I'm so glad. So that was fun. So then the next day, Tuesday morning, I parked the car, and I'm bringing in the cart to bring it back. And I'm like, I'm just going to go to this elevator. So I go to the elevator, and it smells pretty decent in there. And I'm like, okay. And I get down, and I get on the ground floor, and there's a giant swath of what looks like liquid, but it looks like mopped. It doesn't look like just, And so I kind of stopped, and there were these 2 guys there from the city with a little golf cart. It smelled like bleach. I was like, oh, thank God. And so I walk out, and one of the guys is like, oh, excuse us. I'm like, oh, no, you're fine. I'm like, thank you. And he goes, yeah, sorry, it's really bad. And I guess somebody had been in the stairwell. He said trashed it, but I imagine what that means. And I'm like, I said, I don't know if you have any way to contact anyone in the city, but ever since they built this plywood wall, it has been horrible. And he's like, I know. He said, I have to fill out a report every day for my bosses to read, and it, and one of the things I'm saying is that because people are sleeping in there, and they need to have night security come through here, every night and make sure there's nobody in here and everything. And I was like, well, thank you for what you're doing, and it's just awful. And so then yesterday there's this music, he says he's an insider in the music business, which I'm not even going to say his name because I don't like him, but he has a blog, and I saw a headline, and so I clicked on it, and it was an open letter, I guess, to in Dusseldorf to the city, some person, head of security in Germany, about this theater that had become basically just a magnet for drug use, drug dealers, homeless. They had like the people there, like the theater people who had a basement office were watching people basically, poop in front of their windows, and like they had to stay, and a box office person was attacked in the middle of the day, and like horrible situation. And the letter is like a mile long, and I'm like, I feel like forwarding this to the city and saying, this is really awful, and I know we're not there, but you guys need to figure something out, or we are going to get there. And because people are, it's so hard, and
they need to have some place to comfortably sleep and comfortably go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say, if you provide
there's
something,
no easy answers.
people are going to use it because it's, you know, the path of least resistance.
Exactly. You know, and like I thought, what these people are spending to clean up the garage, because he also said it's happening in the garage, up on the floors, up you know, where the cars are as well. And I'm like, what these people are spending to clean this garage over and over and over again. Could we have some kind of bathroom in the alley? Now, that's gonna, you know, it's an enclosed space, and lots of bad things happen in enclosed spaces, but you know, emptying a porta potty once a week has to be maybe less of a problem than actually cleaning up all this stuff off the ground.
Every major city
has this problem.
Has this problem, but downtown there's no place.
Yeah,
there's no place,
especially at night. And I can't imagine, you know, if it were me and I was in that situation.
You know that Deck Park Tunnel?
Yeah.
Okay. Deck Park Tunnel is what it's called because on top of that is a park. It's a tunnel on the freeway, but on top of it is a park. And next to that is the Japanese gardens next to the park. And I took my group to the Japanese garden to walk around, you know. And then we took our lunches so we could eat in the park. But we couldn't get in to the picnic tables that all of our tax dollars had paid for, because the gate to go into where the picnic tables were was locked.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day. And I'm like,
in a public park.
Well, I guess nobody uses this park. And there were people there. But I'm like, it's a beautiful day. We wanted to have a picnic, you know, but we didn't want to sit on the ground.
Yeah.
And there's bench seats and all that in there that we were not allowed to use. I'm like, why is it locked?
Yeah.
It was not like there was anything there. It was those metal tables.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, I guess you have to pay to use it or something. I don't know, but it's because of the problem. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, I really feel for
there's no easy solution
for these people.
But there needs to be a solution found.
And you know, they're doing that because they have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and there's no shelters downtown that I know of.
Well, I mean, I imagine prior to the build of this, I'm like, I hate this plywood wall, and I'm on a campaign. But prior to this plywood wall being built to cover half the, you know, the unused portion of the down, you know, underneath this garage, prior to that being built, I'm sure people use the alley, which is right on the other side, you know, which isn't ideal either. But at least it's an alley where there's dumpsters and already running water from restaurants, and, you know, it's kind of you would think, I mean, it's not like, oh, go to the bathroom here, but at least it's not a place where people have to walk frequently and have to interact frequently the way you do with an elevator and a stairwell. At least, you know, but because you created this little alcove, it's inviting because it's private, and that's what people want. And, you know, so it's like, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but I feel like, you know, at least in this particular instance, it's just like created a problem. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now. I'm sorry. Sorry, talking about poop for so long.
So
I'm so sorry.
This week,
you didn't know you were tuning into this.
So this week, first week of March, and at our local grocery store, the first Wednesday of the month is Senior Day, and you get a discount off of your groceries.
For seniors.
And so Beth and I said, you know, we were like, I don't know when we're going to go. And Beth's like, you know what, it's the first month, we should go today. So we went.
Last Wednesday?
This past Wednesday.
And they don't even ask us. They look at us and go, "Oh yeah, these are seniors."
You're so old. So on Monday, I went to that board meeting and I wore a black suit. I found a nice coat and I dressed up and I was looking at myself and I was like, this black suit makes my hair look way more gray. I'm mad about it.
Yeah. So.
I was going to tell my light bulb story.
All right, tell you a light bulb story.
Well, we've had an ongoing saga, a long ongoing issue with the lights in the kitchen because they're those pot lights, with the floodlights or whatever. So we were trying to figure out ways
Our ceilings are very high.
Yeah, so we have like it's probably a 12-foot ceiling in the kitchen.
It's 10 feet.
And so we were trying to figure out ways to sort of bribe our nephew into climbing on the ladder and doing that because as they start to fail, the lights are like strobing, like we call them seizure lights, and so they do that and then they'll eventually burn out or whatever. But so we were,
the other night I thought I was in a disco.
So we've been dealing with that, and so he had replaced 3 of them because we all had a box of 3 bulbs, whatever. So he had replaced 3 of them, and then that I think it was that same night, or maybe the next one, that I was in my room and I was doing something, and then all of a sudden I saw this bright flash, and at first I thought it was lightning, and then I realized, I have 3 lights in my ceiling fan, and Robert had replaced 2 of them for me a few months ago, I guess. So because I had one burnt out and then another burnt out, and I was down to 1. And I'm like, okay, it's very dark in here, and if that light burns out, I'm going to be in trouble. So he had very kindly replaced the other 2 for me. So this was the third one, an older one that was that burnt out finally. So that bulb had burnt out. So I was thinking, well, I'm going to have to.
Before you start thinking about what kind of nephew is it that you have to bribe into changing a light with the tall ceilings, we had a special ladder that we had to buy just so that we could get close to the ceiling, and he hates climbing that. I would too.
Yeah.
And not only does he have to climb it, he has to bring it in and not
find some place to put it,
not hit the walls, not hit the other
and not fall off
fixtures, and then not fall off of it.
So anyway, I had been thinking about that. I've got to see if we have a bulb or have to go buy one or whatever. So that was going on, and then I have a light that is in the corner by where I feed the cats, right? So I usually, especially in the evening, I'll turn that light on so that I, can, just an extra light so I can see what I'm doing, whatever, when I'm in the corner there feeding the cats. And I had turned it on, and the other night when I was feeding them, I thought, gosh, it's dim in here. And I looked up at the light, and it's one of these that, you see them at Target all the time. One is a torchie lamp that points up at the ceiling, and the other is like a reading lamp, and it has like a little gooseneck, And I just haven't pointed up because that's usually how I use it or whatever. So I was looking. So I was looking at that, and I thought, that reading lamp thing is not on. I need to. So I was looking at it, and I thought, well, I guess I need to buy a bulb for that. And so since we were going to Hobby Lobby, there's a Target right down the street. I mean, right down in the same shopping center. And so I thought, well, so I had told Eve when we go to Hobby Lobby, maybe we can go to Target and I can look for one of those bulbs and replace that one in the lamp. But then we were going to eat at this place that has a lunch special, and I thought, I don't really need the bulb right away. I can get it some other day or whatever. So then last night, I guess, I was feeding the cats, and I looked at that bulb, and I realized at the lamp, and I realized the reason the bulb wasn't lit was because I didn't turn on that light. Because the switch I have has two buttons on it. One is for the upright lamp, and the other is for the reading lamp. And I had not, and I'm like, what? I'm such an idiot. No, it wasn't lit because I didn't turn the light on.
That's how lights work.
I know.
No, I thought I'd made a mistake. I thought I was like freaking out. I thought I'd made a mistake in this blue pattern right here. But I realized it's the beginning of the round where the pattern shifts. And so it's just kind of a wonky little, but it's not a mistake. Okay, never mind. I'm okay.
So my car is one of those push button cars, and I never look at my keys. They're in my purse or they're in my pocket. I don't have to touch them. I can't tell you how many times I walk out to the car with my purse.
No keys.
And I don't have keys. And it's like, I used to be, when I was going to go drive, I would have my keys in my hand. But I don't need to do that. So now it's like, where the heck are my keys?
I know, it happens to me all the time.
And it reminds me of when I had to go let you into your house a couple of times.
Yeah, because that's I'm getting used to a push button car.
No, even before you had the push button car.
Yeah. Well, and then I take my keys and I go to my husband's car and I get in and I'm like, oh, I need an actual key to trust. Because I'm like,
don't get me wrong, I love my push button car.
Me too.
I read some article recently about I guess some school district or some school that was, you know, like I guess wanting to ban you know, phones during class. So they had like some kind of a locking pouch, something or other, you know. Anyway, so you know, there was this article was about the pros and cons, I guess, of banning the phones, and these kids are like, but we need a phone because, you know, how are we going to call our parents and you know, if there's an emergency and you know, sometimes when at the end of the class, if you're not, you know, if you have some free time or whatever, you've already finished your work, you know, we listen to music and this and that and the other, and they're going, some kids said something like, you know, the phones are needed or the phones are essential or something like that, and I'm like, you know, once upon a time, nobody had phones. You know?
I saw an article, I guess, on Smart Her News. I follow that news channel on Instagram. She had an article on the inventor of the cell phone, Motorola, those big bricks, and like what he thought of phones now. It's very interesting. He's like, you have no privacy and addiction also and everything. It was very interesting.
Well, I saw Mountain Point Robert School had, I thought, a decent policy on it. There were some teachers that, like if it was a math class or something like that, they're like, pull out your phone and pull out the calculator. Don't tell me you don't have a way to, you know, to do that. But if they saw you using your phone in class for any other reason, if the teacher didn't want you to or whatever, they would just go. And that phone would end up in the office, and your parent would have to come to the office.
Yeah.
And get the phone. So it wasn't like parents didn't know what was going on, because you got contacted right away through the phone tree thing. And so that happened, and I couldn't even get off of work to go do it. And so I was flying in there at the last second before the office closed, because if I didn't go get it then, he would be out of that phone until I could do it the next day, which would still be, am I going to make it? And so the first time that happened, I said, Robert, if it happens again, I'm not going to leave work early to come and get it. You know, because, you know, there's got to be, you know, some kind of consequence where you understand that you can't use your phone. And I had the same problem with employees.
Yeah.
You know, where I worked, you had to have your phone in your pocket. and they let you have your phone in your pocket, and they understood that sometimes you're just going to be bored and you might want to play on your phone, but they discouraged it, right? But they didn't say flat out. Some guys did, but my group I didn't, because they weren't paying for their cell phones, but they better have that cell phone on them if somebody ran away and they had to run after them or something.
Exactly.
And so to me, it was like, I'm not going to make them put it in my office or something. What are they going to do? Run and go get the phone and then run after their person? If we end up being responsible to be able to contact somebody, well, they need to let you have your phone, or they need to pay for it. You know. But there was always somebody that would take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And they would completely ignore the people and just be playing on their phone.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're like, they're painting right now. I think you can put your phone down and help somebody paint. Well, they're just painting. I'm like, yeah, they're just painting, but your job is to help them paint. You know, I know they're just doing candles, but your job is to help them do candles.
Right.
Your job isn't to play on your phone until there's a problem.
Right.
And, you know, these things came in handy. I remember one girl, she was a one-on-one. I remember her taking off after her person, and she barely grabbed her before she ran into Southern.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a very, very busy street. And, you know, so there's this fine line that I was trying to walk there, but a lot of businesses, there's no reason for you to take out your phone while you're at work.
Yeah.
There was an article about this woman was, I guess she was babysitting these kids or something, and there was some kind of a problem with like one of the kids getting a hold of the kids and getting one to some practice or something like that, and you know, so she was juggling all these things. And then the little girl, the younger one, was about 9 or something, and she was like, wouldn't it be a good idea if there was a phone in your home that like everybody used instead of having individual phones or whatever? And then you could have, and then it was always in the home, and it was hooked up with a wire to the wall so that you couldn't lose it. And I was like, yeah. And the article was something about, this 9-year-old described a home phone.
When Robert was little, I kept a landline.
Yeah.
Because
me too.
you can't count on your child remembering to charge their phone. You know, and you want them to be able to just pick up a phone.
And I kept it
when I first moved here, I had a landline.
Until, you know, because it used to be that the cell service, they couldn't tell where you were.
Right.
And so that's why I kept it, in case they had to call 911 on the house phone. They would just know where they were when they were little, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there are days when I wish we had a home phone still, because I'm like, I call Eli, he doesn't answer. I call Mark, he doesn't answer. I call Eli, he doesn't answer. I call Mark,
and you know they're home.
And I know they're home, and I'm like, it's a good thing I'm not dead on the side of the highway. Answer your phones.
So I always just say in the hospital, it's a good thing I'm not dying, because I'm, having to wait for the nurse to,
often when I call my son, especially if he's, sleeping or whatever, he won't answer the phone. Many times I am calling him to ask him, hey man, we're hitting, drive through somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you want something? Right? And if he doesn't answer his phone, I don't buy him anything.
Yeah.
and he's learned now, you better answer that phone, because I'm calling you for a reason. I'm not calling you to chit chat. Like if he hadn't answered the phone about Dutch yesterday, he'd have been crying.
You snooze, you lose.
Yeah. Oops. But it took coming home with stuff and nothing for him.
A couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called tough love.
Right. Right. So this is my last free weekend end of April, early May, I do every Friday 12 hours from next Friday on. Now, I can't bellyache because those people in operations, those orchestra musicians, they've got way more work, way longer days than me.
Tuesday.
Huh? Yeah, we played we played our concert. That was good. It went well. But yeah, so I mean, they work way harder than me, so I'm not gonna bellyache about my 12-hour days. Well, I will. I bellyache, but I can't bellyache at work, so I can bellyache here. But yeah, we have concerts every weekend, starting next week all the way through April. I think it's 8 weeks in a row, and they added another one this weekend. Actually, I don't have to work it. There was one last night, and there's one tomorrow. They're free concerts. It's really nice. In some smaller venues in the different parts of the city. And fortunately, I didn't have to work, and they were asking for staff to come, and I'm like, I'm not coming. Sorry. I need to rest. So my back's a mess.
Do you remember in Albuquerque, on Mother's Day, we would go and listen to the symphony at the zoo?
Yes,
it was
so
the best. Much fun.
That was so nice. I know, it was such a great thing.
They still do that.
I don't know. I have no idea. No, well, the New Mexico Symphony is no longer, but...
Isn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't...
But I don't know who's doing what now.
Yeah.
But what happened to them?
Oh, they disbanded a long time ago.
Yeah. Did they? I don't pay attention.
But
yeah, they have the New Mexico Albuquerque Philharmonic. New Mexico
I don't know. Something.
Yeah.
I don't know what their
they have
status
friends who play in that. Yeah.
But I don't know if they're like a full-time orchestra or what. But yeah, so it's been fun. We have a brand new CEO now, and he's really experienced, and I think things are really gonna be very cool with him at the helm. I think
it can make a lot. When I first joined the ASO, we had, I remember this woman that was our CEO or whatever, and like apparently somebody was telling me that like, somebody would ask, can the symphony come and play the blah blah blah, and she's like, well, no, because it would cost too much money, and it would, blah blah blah, and so she would always have excuses why no, we weren't going to do that or whatever. And then eventually, I guess we got a new CEO, and he was like, like actively looking for ways that we could do stuff. We could play stuff, or we could do, and it was amazing. Just all the concerts that we did, and the little, special things sometimes or whatever, and it was a lot of fun. But
yeah, it does make a huge difference.
It makes a big difference.
He's very he's real experienced, and
if you want people,
and he's a nice guy. So
if you want people to think about going to the symphony, they have to understand that there is a symphony.
That's one thing. We need to be more visible, and relevant, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
when Beth and I were in elementary school, I remember, I think it was members of the symphony that would come. They would do things like play, what is that?
In the Hall of Mountain King.
Is it that one? And then something with Peter Rabbit.
Peter Rabbit. And the Wolf.
Peter and the Wolf. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun to have them there. And then Mom had that arts thing that she used to take us to, concerts at Popejoy.
Well, it's hugely enriching to the city, and so that's one of his real goals, is to make us more visible and relevant and everything. It's really neat.
Yeah,
I'm excited about the future.
I was
just hard.
Yeah, I was. I used to. Yeah, I was thinking the other day about some. I don't remember what made me think of it, but it was like, the symphony that I was in, we didn't rehearse every week. We would, but except for for whatever reason, because of the runouts that we did, where we would play concerts in little nearby towns or whatever, and the children's concerts that we did, usually October and February were our really busy months, and then of course in December because there were all the Christmas concerts and things like that. And so on a concert week, I was working full time, so I would, I'd work all day, and then on Monday nights I would teach a couple of lessons, and then Tuesdays I would work all day and then have rehearsal that evening, and then Wednesday I'd work all day, and then I would go to church and have choir practice, and then Thursday I'd work all day and go to rehearsal. And Friday I'd work all day and go to rehearsal. Saturday I would teach a lesson in the morning sometimes, and then had rehearsal, and then I had a concert that night. And then on Sunday I had church, and Sunday afternoon I had a concert, and then in the evening I had handrail rehearsal, and then Monday I'd go to work.
You only did concerts Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and then in October and February we had. Like I said, we had runouts. We had like 2 or 3 runouts. We play the same program on the runouts usually, but we'd have like 2 or 3 in the month. Like every other weekend. So like October was like basically every week we would have we didn't have rehearsal. We'd have one rehearsal of the music that was on the runout concerts.
Yeah.
But then we would so I have to like go from work.
Yeah.
Directly to the hall and get on the symphony bus, and we, have our little box dinners or whatever. And
well, our musicians are super busy, and I mean, because we're a full-time orchestra, and then we also have education and community outreach programs that they do like during the day.
Yeah.
And every when they're not rehearsing and stuff like that. So
it's
fun.
Yeah,
so
we had some salaried string quartets that did like children's concerts and community concerts in various venues and throughout the state.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah,
I have to stop because my eyes hurt.
I have to go.
I've got most of this coat done.
Well, it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm still not done with this hat. I have 3 more rows after this. 2 more rows after this. And then I will be done. But it's too... it's too small. Well, I could really squeeze it on. It's pretty though. Look how pretty it is. It's not that tight. But it might give me a headache if I tried to wear it.
Make your head pointy.
It's just that way because it's on the needles. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for one more week of nonsense, as I like to say. I hope you guys are working on all your crafts and enjoying it. And I liked how I said that here, look. He could steal one of these with the force. I'm going to open this right now. See, he's so cute. He's so cute.
I have a Baby Yoda pattern somewhere in my... Yeah.
Thanks for my Yoda, Rachel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that your birthday or Christmas, or what was that? Christmas last year. Maybe? Not this past Christmas. No, it was Christmas.
Was it Christmas?
I think it was.
I thought you had it...
I've had it for a while.
She'll comment.
I think
it was Christmas.
It wasn't last year. It wasn't the year that it came out, and we've been waiting like for 2 years for the third thing.
Yeah.
When that one time we were playing cards at Rachel's house, because I have a picture of you that...
Because I was
was
holding
that Rachel's?
But I was holding hers.
Oh.
Oh yeah. No, that's why she decided to get it for you.
No.
But I think that was the Christmas that we celebrated in January of 21. I think that's when she gave it to you. I'm not sure. She'll comment. You'll comment and tell us when you gave it to her. You remember. All right. Well, we hope you have a good week, and we'll see you back here. Same time, same channel, same nonsense. See you. Bye.
Bye.